New time cues.
Hey, Wilson.
Hey, Monique, how's it going?
I'm good, baby. How you doing?
Good. I know we spoke recently when you were on BMF. You did press for that, and I know the last time I saw you on stage was at Madison Square Garden. It was a minute ago. That was a minute,
Wow, Wilson.
you know. So it's good to see you back. Obviously, it's a long time coming. Does it get challenging coming up with new material, knowing there's a lot more people going to watch you for certain reasons?
You know, when you put your life on stage, you don't have to come up with it. It's what it is.
So what went into the material you're talking about this time? A lot of times, obviously as comedians, you're bringing up a lot of your life, what's going on, but this one's, is special.
You know, my husband said to me years ago, he said, Mama, you're funny, but you haven't touched it yet. You haven't really tapped into it yet. And at first I was like, what do you mean? I mean, you don't see the people laughing. He said, yeah, you're funny. He said, but we know the greats. We know Richard Pryor. We know what made him hurt. We know what made him laugh. We know what made him cry. We knew him. And that's when he walked out on that stage, we treated Richard Pryor like he was our family, not just a comedian on stage. Richard Pryor was uncle, brother, daddy, boyfriend, lover, cousin, whatever it was. He became a family member. He said, because he's opened himself up to say, this is who I am. So he said, let the people know who you are. Welcome them in to who you are. We already know you funny, but invite them in. And that's what this was.
It's raunchy, but when it's going to be on Netflix as opposed to live and intimate, is there concern for how much you're going to say, knowing you have a bigger audience watching you? And either they're going to say, I know who she is, I've watched this before, this is her, but you're also going to get a new audience watching you.
Did you just use the word raunchy?
in terms of language.
Listen, I had to catch myself. I said, did you say raunchy?
In terms of the language. In
our black houses and our black basements and our black cookouts, that's just language, baby. And I'm embarrassed, Wilson, you would use the word raunchy. Listen, they say people that use spicy words are the most honest because we're not trying to hide anything. And I've had people say to me, well, the only reason why people use cuss words is because their vocabulary is limited. And you want to know something, Wilson? They right. That's why I use the words I use, but I'm always telling the truth in what I'm saying. So I don't consider it raunchy. I consider a lie raunchy. I consider taking advantage of somebody raunchy. But do I consider what I'm saying? And am I worried about a new audience saying, oh, no. I welcome that new audience saying, damn it, it's about time. And I say that humbly, that somebody is saying, let me lay it out on the table, unapologetically. And I say that humbly. But the word raunchy, no, baby. That doesn't even sound right coming out of a black man's mouth with our community. I'm gonna take your card, Wilson.
Did you feel after it was done and then you saw the finished product, were you happy? Were you pleased? Or did you feel you could have said more or less?
I think that I said what needed to be said. Because when it's called My Name is Monique, and this is what I say to people, because I've had people say to me, well, could you have done it? Should you have done it that way or this way? I always say, when it's your turn at bat, swing your bat the way you want to swing it. When it's my turn, I'm going to swing it the way I want to swing it. And whoever wants to come to the arena and watch me play the game, I welcome you. But I will not swing my bat the way you think I should swing it because it's not your turn. But when it's your turn, swing the way you choose to swing.
Cameras made a point of showing Lee Daniels in the audience, which is good to see that he's out there supporting you. I see that you also made a point that you guys are coming back to work again. Can you talk a little bit about the projects coming up?
The Deliverance, Wilson. It is one of those true stories. And when Lee Daniels puts his stink on it, as I say to him, it takes you on a ride of almost disbelief, but it's true. And out of respect for the family, because we're telling their story, out of respect for that family, I say to the audience, you just have to see it. That's as much as I'm going to speak on it, because you have to see that film for yourself and figure out what you just saw.
Mm-hmm. I
And
see
be delivered.
Obviously, in the last 2 months, you've been on BMF. I've seen you in the BET Plus film. You've got this coming up. You're gonna be working with Lee. Are you saying more yes to projects? Then let's think about it, because we're seeing you more than we did in the last few years.
We say yes to things that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't make sense, we have no problem saying no. I remember Sidney Poitier said, it's not all the things that, it's what you say no to. It's what you say no to. And there's a lot that you have to say no to so that you can say yes to the ones that make sense. We've said a lot of no's. So with projects coming up, if it makes sense, if you see me in a project, Wilson, you know it made sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're not just do it for the money, because that's not you.
Well, it made dollars and cents. Okay.
yes, there is that point. And before I let you go, obviously it's great to see you back. And they're telling me to wrap up, so I'm just going to say, hey, congrats! It's good to see you back. I'm sure we'll talk again, because you're back to working at least regularly in my standards. Because hey, she's got a project. Just wait for it. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you, my baby. I love you, brother. Have a good one.
Take care.